Good morning, guys. So, in our last session, we have discussed auto scaling group. So, did you get any chance to perform this task, guys?
Yes, Avinash, I did.
Difficulties? It went well. Okay. So, here in today's session, we are going to discuss about the storage for our servers. So, that we are going to discuss with Linux operating systems. That service name is EFS. EFS stands for Elastic File System. So basically this is a shared file storage for our servers. So you need a centralized location for all your servers. That location should be used to like installing applications or storing some data and sharing across the servers or sharing centralized web data, right? So for that we are going to use EFS. So basically this EFS supports it supports NFS version 4, 4.1 or 4.2. So NFS basically it is a file system of Linux operating system. NFS stands for network file system. NFS stands for network file system, and so currently supports only Linux operating system. By installing some third-party tools, of course, you can mount it to Windows also, but that is not from officially from AWS. So all data is going to store in SSDs and so we can create multiple servers in multiple availability zones we can associate. So we can use for same region resources, same VPC resources or same region another VPC resource or another VPC resource also. But for that um, we need to enable VPC peering. So peering means connectivity between one VPC to another VPC. So by defaultly, one VPC cannot communicate with another VPC. For example, so far we are launching all our instances in default VPC only. While launching here, we are selecting it, right? Amazon Linux 2, and here I am selecting T2 Nano, and here we are selecting a VPC, right? So after a couple of sessions later, we will discuss how to create our VPC and all, another VPC. So, but the thing is, so one VPC resource cannot communicate with another VPC resources. But we do have an option called VPC peering. By using that peering, yes, we can enable this EFS sharing also. So we can share with another VPC resources either in same region or different region. Either that VPC is in same region or it might be in different region. We can. So recently I've seen an article that here in our channel in AWS updates, I've seen one update. So EFS one zone infrequently access got announced. Just couple of days back, I've seen that. Mm, See, one zone EFS Elastic File System on 16th March. So Amazon Elastic File System EFS one zone is now available in 5 additional regions and cost is going to be less. So generally, the data is going to spread across 3 availability zones, whatever the data you are going to store in this EFS in backend. But if you are looking for low cost for the same, So instead of 3 copies, only 1 copy, just like our S3 bucket, standard infrequently access and one zone infrequently access. So similar mechanism like we got here. While if you already created and if your file system is ready, you can directly associate, like just go and add the file system here. Okay. So otherwise, let's go and create. So I think I already have one file system. So I'll show you that. So let's navigate to EFS, Elastic File System. So let's create a file system. Okay, let me delete this. I no longer require this. Right. So reduce your storage cost by using lifecycle management. All right. So let me quickly launch a couple of EC2 instances. Once I create this Elastic File System, create file system. So directly with couple of steps. Okay, what is the name you want to give? So my EFS. So then in what VPC you want to create? So then what is the availability and durability? As I mentioned, so if you selecting this, the data is going to spread across multiple availability zones in the region. But if you are looking for less storage cost, like you can go and select this one zone. In what availability zone you want to? So your instance also must be in same availability zone, and also good to go with the region. But instead of that, if you want to see all the settings available while creating this file system, click on customize. When you click on customize, it is going to give a name that is optional. So then it is going to ask the strategy. You want to go with the regional or one zone? I'm going with regional. And automatic backups. So do you want to enable automated backups for this EFS? So in backend, we have a service called AWS backup. So this is a backup service. So if you're enabling this automated backup in backend, this AWS backup service comes to the scenario, it is going to take a backup. It creates a backup automatically based on the option we are selecting, right? So if you want to, you can enable, but we really don't require. I'm not selecting that. So I'll share you document how to enable backups. So lifecycle management. So now whatever the data you are accessing, frequently you can have it in standard, otherwise you can move it to standard infrequently access. So how it is going to, so in our S3, based on the days, it is going to move from one storage class to another storage class. But when coming to this, it is bit intelligent one. For example, you have this file ec2.txt. If you access this file in last 7 days, it will be available. If you haven't accessed this file from last 7 days, then it will go to infrequently accessed storage class. So for example, from last 6 days you didn't access, but on 7th day you access this. Yes, it will consider that for coming 7 days it will be available. Okay, after that it will go to infrequently access. There is nothing like glacier, and also your data will always available. So here is an option. Whatever the data you accessed 7 days since last access, you haven't accessed that file in last 7 days, yes, it goes to infrequently access. So similarly, you can set it to none, no infrequently access, all data will be in standard only, no infrequently access. So I'm going to select 7 days since last access, right? So to save some cost, we are going to define the 7 days since last access. However, in both the cases, data will be available immediately. There is no wait time for this data. So then what is a performance mode? So basically this elastic file system, we can mount it to thousands of the EC2 instances also. We can mount it to thousands of the EC2 instances. So if you are using for stable workloads or medium workloads, you can choose this general purpose. High level workloads, then go and choose max IO. So it will give max IO performance, input output performance maximum. So we are good with general purpose. I'm just going to mount only couple of EC2 instances. And 90% of the times we go with general purpose only. Throughput mode. So throughput is nothing but If you're taking it as a diagrammatical manner, this EFS and EC2 instance. So this is my EC2 instance. This is another EC2 instance. This is another EC2 instance. I need a centralized file location for this. So I'm going to create EFS and I'm going to mount this EFS to this EC2 instance. So I'm going to mount it to a particular folder or mount path. Right. So now end customer, whoever connected to this server, within this mounted path, whatever modification he performed, that won't happen here. That actually happen here. The same thing, whoever connected here, if he is performing any modifications, that actually happen here, not within this EC2 instance. It's just like a shared folder, guys. So now, for example, I want to see how many shared folders I have here in this machine. So I have a machine. So within this, I have these many shared folders. If I want to go to ADS, I can go here. I can create a file and I can associate. If I want to map this, I can take this in this PC. So here, computer map network drive, gave the path, finish. See here, we got the path here. So it is also looking like a C drive, F drive only. But where actually it is in different computer. The computer name is this AWS. There we have all these files. Whatever modification you are performing it here, it is not happening in this Z drive. It looks like it is happening in Z drive, but it is actually happening at F drive, ADS, it is happening here. So similarly, this EFS we are going to create. After creating that, we are going to launch couple of EC2 instances and we are going to mount this. To where you are mounting, that is matter. If you are mounting it to var www.html, both web servers have a centralized web content. So you want to design clustering kind of mechanism and you need a location, central location for all your servers, you can pick this, right? So this is a mechanism. Now the data transmission between these, if you are looking for a dedicated bandwidth between this, then you can go and enable this throughput mode. So this bursting, it is going to scale along with the file system automatically. So how much data it is trying to retrieve, it is going to change automatically. Okay, but when coming to that provision, so you can define your required MB, how much Mbps you required, you can define that here. For example, you required 1 Gbps, dedicated communication between these, dedicated bandwidth between these. So we can define that. But this is going to cost very, very heavily. See this. Throughput bill can be up to $6,748. So don't do that. So I'm going with the bursting file system, bursting throughput mode only. So encryption. So do you want to enable encryption data at rest? So what are the data you are storing here? Do you want to encrypt this data? Then you can go and enable and you can choose what encryption mechanism you want to choose. I don't require encryption. Then scroll down. What is the tags you want to give? For what project you are giving? For testing project, or what is the cost center code? You can define that. So then click on next. So this is network access. Now we are creating a file system. Fine. To what are all the subnets you want to make it available? So this file system should be available to AP South 1A EC2 instances, AP South 1B EC2 instances, and do you want to make it available for 1C also? Those all things we need to choose here. So navigate here. I'm selecting default subnet. So now it is going to ask us, okay, do you want to make it available for episode 1A? Then keep it. 1B, keep it. 1C, keep it. For example, I want to make it available for only 1A and 1B EC2 instances only. Then you can remove 1C. You can just remove 1C. Right. So those options we can select. Now, what security group you need to choose? Security group, basically, as I mentioned, this EFS works on NFS protocol. that I believe port number 2049. That port must be opened in the security group. So let's navigate to security groups. I'm navigating to security groups, creating a security group, EFSSG. EFS security group is the name I'm giving. In what VPC you want to create. What is the inbound rule? Add rule, go and choose NFS protocol. See, 2049. Whenever you are opening NFS 2049, port number is going to open. Again, to what are all the instances you want to open? See, you can simply go here, you can give entire network 0.0.0.0. But there is a disadvantage with this. So by installing NFS utils, so if you are installing this NFS utils, you will come to know DNS name of my file system, then you can install this, right? So that is not at all recommended option, right? Opening it for everyone. So instead of opening it for everyone, we have two options. Either open it for entire VPC. So now we need to know what is a VPC CIDR block. So navigate to VPC. For your VPC, we are going to have a IP address. So this is the IPv4 CIDR block. So we can give this VPC CIDR block, pick it. So within this VPC, how many instances we are going to launch? Those all instances can communicate. This is one option. Another and more secure option is give your web server security group only. See, couple of sessions back, I have explained one scenario, that celebrity and manager scenario. So this file system should be available to only my web servers only. So I'm giving SG and I'm giving Linux SG. So what are all the instances contains this Linux SG? Only those EC2 instances will get data from this elastic file system. Okay, so please try to understand this mechanism and make sure you mention same in your interview. Why? Because the guys thinks you have some genuine experience, right? This is a more secured option. Of course, you can mention, okay, we can open for entire network CIDR block, but less secured option. Opening for everyone is not at all a recommended option. So all three works for us. Try to understand this mechanism. All right. So then scroll down, click on create security group. Now we have created a security group called EFSSG that will send all the traffic to the Linux SG. That means what are all the instances contains this Linux SG security group, those all instances can communicate with our EFS. Right. So now go here and pick the security group. Give a quick refresh or go to previous or remove. Let's add. I'm going to select AP South 1A and security group EFS. No, it's not detected. So let's recreate it. Create a file system, customize my EFS, regional, not going to enable automated backups, life cycle 7 days, general purpose, not enabling encryption. Click on next, VPC. So now I'm going to remove all the security groups and navigate here. Look for EFS, EFSSG. Now we are able to find that EFSSG. I selected that. See. So for AP South 1C, I'm not going to add. If you want to, of course, you can do that. There is no harm in that. So click on next. Now this is OS level operations, guys. This is basically optional. So whenever you mount this to these operating systems, so you are mounting this to this OS level, right? What option you want to enforce at this OS level? So prevent root access by default. So whenever you switch to root user, he cannot access this file system. Another users only can access. Enforce read-only access by default. So this EFS When you mount it, so only it enforces read-only access by default, right? So if you want to grant additional permissions, you can grant it for what IAM user can do that, and also so prevent anonymous access, enforce in-transit encryption for all clients. So even while data is in transit state between these, it is going to be encrypted. So those options we can give here. So just leave it blank. Most of the times we go with the blank only. Then click on next. So this is a review screen. Name MyEFS, performance mode general purpose, bursting, encryption no, not KMS ID, and lifecycle policy, whatever the data not accessed in last 7 days. So then it goes to infrequently accessed, no automated backups, it is running within this VPC, and no one zone, it is running as a regional one, and it will be available to 1A and 1B EC2 instances, no file system policies. Then click on create. So it's going to take a couple of minutes to create the file system. So meanwhile, I'm going to launch a couple of EC2 instances. So I'm going to launch one instance in episode 1A, another one is in episode 1B. All right. So now launch instance, Amazon Linux 2 AMI, T2 Micro. So I'll show you manual mount option. So if you want to, you can just go and you can pick that, but I'll prefer to go manual mount. Then you will understand the mechanism. Then you can just go and you can mount it here. 8 gigs. So this is instance 1, and I'm going to choose a security group. This is important. So you must choose Linux SG only. Why? Because EFS SG is delivering data to Linux SG only. So select Linux SG. Review and launching using an existing key pair. So my instance 1 is ready and it got launched in episode 1B. So I launch another instance in episode 1A. Launch instance, Amazon Linux 2, T2 Micro, and I'm going to launch it in episode 1A. Storage, this is instance 2. Security group, and I'm going to select same security group, that is Linux SC. Review, launching using an existing key pair. Right, so let me get connected to these two EC2 instances now. And let me verify if this file system got created. All right, it got created. And here is view file system. This is the file system. So now, so how much data it stored and all, this is system reserved data, 6 KB. It is going to have some basic information. So how much data is in standard? How much data in standard and frequently? It shows here. Monitoring. Again, CloudWatch is a responsible service for this monitoring. It shows what is utilization warning. 75% utilization happened while creating. After that, like for every 5 minutes, it's going to refresh. So you can see the monitoring. Tags, if you want to add any tag. If you want to later on, if you want to add any file systems, you can add it here. Access point. So if you want to create any access point, like um, for different POSIX is another file system. So if you have any POSIX file systems and all, you can do that here. So we really don't use that. So then network. So for example, at moment we have made it available only for episode 1A and 1B. So later on you decided to launch some instance in 1C and you want to make it available. Then you can come back to network, manage, add mount point, episode 1C, what security group you want to choose. That you can give it here. Right. So now let's get connected to these instances. So I'm going to grab the public IP address and I'm going to take CMD SSH-I, then EC2-user at the rate public IP address, then give yes, sudo space su, clear the screen. So this is my instance 1. This is my instance 1 and I'm going to create my instance 2. I'm going to connect to my instance 2. Okay, grab the public IP address. I'll take putty session. I just want to show some difference here for instance 1 and instance 2. So browse the PPK file. Give yes, EC2 hyphen user, sudo space su, clear in the screen. All right. See that here, this is my instance 1. This is my instance 2. So it is 25.189. This is 7.186. One is in putty session, another one is in command session. Now, so we have two options. You can mount it to a regular path. Otherwise, you can mount it to a centralized web content also. So let me go and do that as a normal mount first. So I'm going to create a directory. Now I want to mount this file system. This EFS need to be mounted to this server. So for that, we can go and we can click on attach. And here we have an option mount via DNS. So this is the mount helper. It gives a helping option. So this is a mount point. So always we are going to use this. So go and grab this and we need to mount this. So whenever you are giving this, so this is a mount point. So whatever the folder name you are giving here, that folder should be available first thing, and to that path only it is going to mount. To that particular path it is going to mount. So now if I want to mount that here, I need to have a directory, right? Do I have any directory here? No. Even if I simply go here, if I copy and paste this, if I simply copy and paste this, it will tell me, okay, there is no mount point. Mount point DFS does not exist. So this mount point should be created prior. So you can go with the same name or you can pick different name. That is your option. So I'm going to create a directory mkdir EFS storage is a name I'm giving. So ls EFS storage is the name. Same name you need to give here. EFS storage. If you are giving any typo, it won't mount. So I have picked that here, click on enter. So if there is a communication error, it will take lot of time and it's going to fail with timeout error. But without timeout error, it got mounted successfully. So now technically, if I go inside this EFS storage, whatever the data I'm going to create here, it actually stores in this EFS, not on this EC2 instance, only within this file system. So if you are giving df space hyphen capital th, see this. This is a file system. It is running with NFS4 file system, and this is the mount point. So LSBLK, it won't show. It's going to list only block-based devices, but df space capital hyphen th will shows all the available mount points. Okay, so now the same thing we can perform for another instance also. But before that, let me do one thing. I'll create some data. VIM instance1.txt. So this file is created in instance 1. Okay, if you give ls and if you are even catting to it, see this file is created in instance 1. Okay, right. So this is a one thing. So we perform this all these things from instance 1. We haven't mounted to instance 2. Right. So now let's go and let's mount it to instance 2 also. In instance 2, you can go with the same name or you can give different name. That doesn't matter. So here is my instance 2. So now I'm going to create a folder with this name mkdir EFS storage. The folder got created, and now grab this mount point, give it enter. There you can see we got connected. So if you gave ls, it got created. Now let's go inside this EFS storage. So did we create any file from this instance too? No, but if you gave ls, see this instance1.txt is there. So why? You have mounted a file system. That file system already have some data, right? If you're creating any file, a vimb.txt, so this is a test file from instance 2 press escape : wq. So if you go here, if you give ls, there you can see p.txt is there. So you can see. So at a time, immediately we are able to see all the changes between these servers. Now I want to use this EFS to deliver my centralized data. Centralized data means like, um, we have some web content. When modification happen in one server, that should reflect in another server also. So for that, first of all, I'm going to make both as a web servers. So yum install httpd-y, and here also yum install httpd-y. So service httpd start chk config httpd on. So here also service httpd start chk config httpd on. Okay, so now if we go and if we observe output of these, we got the test page for instance 2 as well as instance 1 also. Right. So now I want to map this to web content path. So now, so far we have mounted to EFS storage, right? But this time where www.html, the path is available and I'm going to mount this in both the instances. It is success. It is success in both the systems. If we navigate to cd var www.html, give ls, there is a files, cd var www.html, there is a files. So I'm going to create vim index.html from one of the instance, press I. So I'm going to give a header one. So this is my EFS shared web page. So I created this from my instance 2. And the same thing got reflected in instance 1. If we go here, if we give refresh, see, for both the servers we are able to, whatever modification you are going to perform, for example a typo, so that typo I'm going to fix from this machine, right? HTML, then press I. Right, so these OS level things you don't need to worry. We need to worry about this EFS only. Why? Because trust me, in 90% of the projects, you won't get any chance to log into operating system level until unless you work for a very basic, like, entry level organization or like, very basic projects and all. So then only. So OS ops, we are going to have a dedicated team. So they will take care about that OS level operations. Even so, trust me, in my current project, once I create this elastic file system, I'm going to share this mount point. That's it. Okay, this is a mount point. And sharing this also sufficient for them. Okay, so I'm going to give DNS name. So then it is going to, they are going to perform the OS level operations. So if you want to do based on IP address and also we need to change the IP address of our EC2 instance, then we can get that is the IP address. So always go with the DNS. Right, so this is a elastic file system. So this is a mechanism we use to deliver central content. So before creating golden AMI, you can mount this to var www.html and you can have a sample copy. Now how many instances you're going to create in auto scaling group, whatever modification you are going to perform in instance 1, those changes is going to reflect into all the EC2 instances automatically. This is what the question someone raised yesterday, right? So any questions on this EFS, guys?
So Avinash, can we put this inside the user data as well, this mount script?
Yes. So you don't need to, while you are adding, whenever you are launching instance, for example, you are launching an EC2 instance, Amazon Linux 2, and here T2 micro. So then what file system you want to? Whenever you click on add file
Okay.
system, Go and choose a file system. So then you can give the path.
Mount. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So, but you need to choose the subnet here. Okay, this EC2 instance I want to launch in episode 1A. Then see here. So automatically create and attach security group, or what security group you want to, you can uncheck and you can launch instance. What mount path? Again, based on the option you are selecting, AWS is going to update the user data only. So it
Okay.
is going to update, like it is going to install EFS utils, and then it is going to mount. So instead, by default, it is EFS utils handle by default we will get, but it is going to run these commands. Then only it's going to mount. And if you recall, whatever the mount we perform, that is a temporary mount only. So how to make it as a permanent mount? OS level,
We have to make entry in FS step file, right?
add entry in etc fs tab file for permanent mount. So get entry cat etc mtab get entry and write same in etc fs tab file. So I'll show you for one instance. So cat etc tab. This is the entry related fs.efs. This is the entry related to this file system. Copy it. This is the entry. Now go and open vim etc mtab. Sorry, fs tab. Press I. That is a don't assert existing one. That is for root volume. So if you have any additional volume also, you need to mount it here for permanent mount. Then go and mount it here, press escape, :WQ. So even after instance reboot also, this file system is going to available here. So that is permanent mount option. So when coming to Windows servers, for Windows also, we have a service called FSX. So this FSX supports, like, Windows operating systems. So this EFS supports only Linux operating systems here. But if you're looking a similar mechanism for Windows, you need to depend on FSX. So FSX required, I'm going to, okay, I'm going to delete this EFS. EFS based on pay as you go mechanism, how much data you're storing, based on that only you're going to get charged, right? So now when coming to FSX, FSX is a file system that made available for Windows operating system. So whenever you're creating a file system, FSX for Windows file server or FSX for Lust. Lust is a different file system we use for HPC, high performance computing. So both supports Windows operating system. So pick FSX. But for this, no, you need to have an Active Directory. Okay, we need to have an Active Directory, and it is going to run with SMB protocol. So this EFS run with NFS protocol, FSX works with SMB protocol. Server message block. SMB protocol, server message block protocol. This is a protocol. SMB protocol. So it works with that protocol. And we required Active Directory. Either self-managed Active Directory, or you can create an Active Directory, you can use it, or you can depend on AD connector. So basically Active Directory we are going to discuss later. That is not part of the course, but I'm going to share required videos and I'll take you through that. So while creating Elastic file system, so give file system name, deployment mode, just like that. You want to go with the multi-AZ or single AZ, then you can pick that. What is the storage type you required, SSD or SSD? You can go and choose that. How much storage capacity required? Unlike this EFS is no pre-provisioning is required. For EFS, No pre-provisioning is required. That means whatever the data you are going to store, you are going to get charged for that. But here, pre-provisioning is required. How much storage you required, you need to choose that. Minimum is 32 GB. I have selected it. So throughput, similar mechanism, dedicated bandwidth between the storage and EC2 instance. We can pick that. Network security. So in what VPC you want to run, what security group you want to choose, you can go and pick that security group as well. And what is the preferred subnet? I want to go and choose episode 1A and standby subnet is going to be 1B. And this feature, Windows authentication. So we need to go and create AWS managed Active Directory. So if you already have directory, you can go and choose that. Otherwise, self-managed Microsoft Active Directory. So we need to create a directory now. So what is a domain name you want to give? So avinash.com domain name. So what is a DNS server IP address you want to give? So that 192.168.0.1 I want to pick, or like 192.168.0.2 I want to pick. So then what is the service account name you want to give? So Avinash is a service account name. What is the password you want to give for the service account? Right. So then what is the OU? Those are the optional things. Leave it. So then one active directory is going to create with this name. And these are the DNS servers. So whenever you want to mount this file system, so you need to configure this DNS name within that EC2 instance. You need to mount this file system within that EC2 instance. Then do you want to enable encryption? There is no option to disable. We obviously need to go with the encryption. OS level access operations, DNS aliases and all. And when do you want to take backup? Daily backup or weekly backup? So you can just go and choose weekly maintenance window or backups. So then next, and here is a review screen. Whenever you create this file system, then you can, and whatever the instance you're going to create, so that EC2 instance must be part of this domain, then only you can do that. So that we will discuss later. So the steps similar to EFS only. And if you're too curious at moment, I'll share you a video. So once we're done with the directory services, you can come back and you can perform this. And it won't comes under free tier eligibility. But EFS comes under free tier eligibility. You're going to get 5 GB of the storage under EFS. Right? And only question you can expect on this FSX, that is you have some Windows servers, you are looking for shared storage. Then what service you are going to pick and what protocol it uses. Apart from that, you don't get much questions on this FSX, right? So that's a high level overview. So once we're done with directory services, you can come back and you can perform this FSX. So any questions on this, guys? All right. So then we have a small topic called, okay, I got a question here. Can we connect FSX with Azure AD? So whenever you are enabling communication between AWS and Azure by implementing a VPN, then yes, we can. So we have an option to connect to that Azure AD to AWS, that is AD connector. So if you implement that, then yes, we can. Right. So when coming to that small topic, so we have a service called Light Sale. So this comes under software as a service. We really don't use much. We don't use much this service, and it's just like no voice service for most of the organizations. And but you can expect one question in cloud practitioner certification exam. Just for that, we are covering this topic, guys. Just for cloud practitioner, right? So basically, this light sale comes as a bundle. Everything comes as bundle. So when AWS introduced this light sale, right, they have came up with a tagline called no nonsense pricing. No nonsense pricing is a tagline for this light sale. Later on, of course, they removed. Why? Because that is pointing to their another services only, right? So that's why they removed that. So we just need to choose what operating system you required, what blueprint you required. Just picking those options and launching is sufficient to get a website. So in our demo sessions, we have launched this. I hope you remember that. But in our demo sessions, we launched this light sail, right? And here I'm in light sail. If I want to create a light sail instance, I can go here, click on create instance. Create instance. Now, what platform you required? You want to launch a Linux instance along with an application, or if you are looking for only operating system, you can just go and choose this one also. So you might get a doubt, what is the real difference between this EC2 and this light sail? Both are same, there is no difference, but here based on our usage, AWS is going to cost us. So sometimes we are going to use more hours, or like, we are going to perform data transitions more and all. And if you don't have any insight on the pricing, then this is the best option. So I can choose, okay, I need Amazon Linux. Then what is the pricing mechanism you want to choose? Okay, I will go and I will choose $3.5 plan, $5 plan. So within this plan, I'm going to get this instance. So you don't know what is T2 micro, T3 micro, all those things. So then you can go and pick this. I'm going to get 1 GB, 1 CPU, 40 GB storage, 1 TB data transfer. So by end of the month, I'm going to get a bill of $5, not more than that. So that's for fixed pricing mechanism here with this. So based on the plan we are selecting, we are going to get it. So similarly, not only with operating system, Amazon even have applications. For example, you need a WordPress website. To get a WordPress website with default template, we need to put a lot of efforts. We need to launch an EC2 instance. We need to get connected. We need to install the packages. We need to map, um, we need to install and we need to map database with our applications and all. Those all things we need to perform. But here, if you are picking light sail, it's not like that. You just go and choose what application you require. WordPress that contains multiple websites, LAMP stack, Node.js, Drupal. Okay, I need WordPress website. Then pick that. Then scroll down. What is the plan? Whenever you are doing this for the first time, you are going to get under free. So 3.5 US dollars. Pick that. Then scroll down. How many WordPress website you require and what is the name you want to give? How many you require, you can give it. While launching, if you want to add any basic scripting, so you can add user data here if you want to, right? So then if you want to choose any key pair, so basically we are going to get a default key pair. We can use it to get connected to it. Otherwise, you can go here, you can generate a key pair. The EC2 is a different service, Lightsail is a different service. So EC2 key pairs, we cannot find it here. If you want to create a new one, go here and download that key pair, right? So in similar, if you want to launch, if you want to create a automated snapshots, go here, pick that. So every day at this particular point of time, one snapshot is going to create for this instance. So go here, click on create instance. So automatically one light sail instance is going to create here. One light sail instance is going to create. We can simply get connected to it and by default we are going to get a website for this. So no need to perform much things at OS level. Amazon already have a blueprint of it and we are going to get an EC2 instance from that blueprint. Okay, that is an instance. Similarly, you are looking for a container. So if you are looking for a container service, you can just go here and you can choose this. So these are like a different configurations. These are different configurations: nano, micro, small, medium, large, XL. So what container you want to launch, you can just go and you can launch it. So container topic, just keep it aside. We will discuss later. Database, for example, you have instance here. So you want to create a database and you want to deliver that, or you want to deliver to anywhere. Then you can create a database. what database you required and what version you required. So then see, no additional high level options. Very simple. You need a database, you don't know about RDS and all, but easiest options. So then go and specify, okay, what is a username? What is a password? Mention that password. That's it. Then what is a plan? Okay, I want to go with the $15 plan. Then what is the name you want to give and create? No VPC, no security group, no port openings. Everything Amazon is going to take care here. So that's what software as a service mechanism means. Networking. So you want to create a static IP address or you want to create a load balancer for this. See, couple of sessions back, if you are looking for load balancer, so how many options we have? But here, create load balancer. So initial configuration. What is the load balancer name you want to give? Scroll down, create load balancer. See this. See, is it allowing any options? It is enabling port number 80, not 443. That's it. It is asking for the name. So remaining everything AWS is going to perform backend. So, but we don't prefer to go with this one. Why? Because no customizations on the services, right? So that's why we don't go and we don't choose that. So if you required any additional storage for your instance, you can create and you can mount it. How much storage you required, you can give that, right? And whatever the snapshots you enabled and created, that you can find it here. So here is the WordPress instance and here we got an IP address. Grab it, give that within the browser, and if it is up and running, we will get this website. See this. This is the WordPress website we got by using Lightsail. Now I want to change this. Instead of users block, I want to give it as Avinash block, or I want to upload my image, or I want to give that under this background and all. So if you want to perform all those modifications, give this IP address, give slash wp-admin, WordPress admin. We are logging to this website, WordPress admin console. So now go and connect to this EC2 instance. To connect to this instance also, here is a terminal option. Click on that. Terminal got picked. We pick the terminal and here we connect it to the instance. Give ls. Here it shows an option Bitnami application password. So this gives the password to log into this admin console. The default username is user and the password, add that Bitnami application password. This is the password to log into that WordPress console. Give that here. Same thing I'm giving it here. Click on login. So now we have logged into this WordPress website. So click on customize site. Click on customize site. And now what modifications you want to perform, you can just go here and you can perform all the modifications. So instead of user block, I want to give Avinash block and publish. So you no need to be a technical guy to do that. See here, this is Avinash block now. Okay, similarly, you want to perform you want to update background image. For example, I want to upload an image and I want to deliver that. So do I have an image on my desktop? Let me take this ELB PNG. So then I have uploaded that, choose image and just click on publish. That's it. Whenever we go here, give refresh, see this. This is the background image and remaining this. That looking very ugly, but so just to show you, right? So you no need to be a techie guy to have a website and deliver website. And Naresh IT is all the websites. Four websites Naresh IT have Naresh Jobs, Shesha Jobs, Naresh IT, .in and .com. These four websites actually delivered by using light sale only. Just because of the fixed pricing, first thing. Second thing, so we don't need to be we don't need to recruit any technical guy to deliver updates and all. Just go to template. Okay, what image they're giving. So whenever we give specific size and all, they're going to upload the banners. So what document they need to change, they're just changing it. Nothing more than that, right? So if you want to add menu, what is the primary menu, home, about, for example, I want to get home as a last. So far, like, we are getting these pages, right? So we can just, like, drag and drop, we can customize, you can even reorder, you can add item, right? So you can choose anything, publish, that's it. It is going to publish. So here, if you go and give refresh, see here, blog came here, home came here, sample page also added here. So everything. So that is a light sale, and in interview, don't expect any questions on this light sale, right? So if you want to add multiple users to this, like, admin console, and you want to log in and you want to create some users, and if you want to deliver your website also, you can use this service. Go here, add new user, what is the username, email, and what is the role you want to give, subscriber, contributor, author, editor, or administrator. So you can add multiple users at this WordPress level also. And SEOs and all, we already have a plugin, so you can just go and you can perform. For example, all-in-one SEO is there. So when you activate this, so your machine will come in SEO also. So we need to perform some basic setup, then we can do that. All-in-one WordPress migration, right? So we do have some tools for S3 also that we can integrate and we can deliver that. So that is all about light sale. So any questions on this light sale, guys? And if you launch a light sale instance, you can keep it till this 31st. From 1st onwards, it is going to cost us only 1 month. It is free. So if you launch on 1st, you can use it for one entire month, right? So that's a light sale option. So tomorrow we are going to start with AWS CLI. So how we can use command line interface and how to access AWS resources by using CLI. And why AWS won't recommend to use a CLI? What is the alternative option? That is a role. So how we can use a role and why we need to go with the only roles, that we will discuss. After that, we are going to discuss systems manager. So then we are going to discuss about placement groups. So then we are going to discuss about Beanstalk. Beanstalk and placement group, very, very small topics. Okay, so these three we can cover in one session. These probably 1 or 1.5 session, right? So then we are going to done with the EC2 module. These are the pending topics here. So that's it for today's session. So any question before closing this, guys? Are we good so far, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Avinash.
Okay. All right. So then that's it for today's session. See you again tomorrow, guys.
Avinash, can I ask one question? Okay.
Yeah.
So I was just going to the video, right? I did in the alarms, right? There is an OK and in alarm option, right? So what's the difference between OK and in alarm, right? I watched it a couple of times, but I was not able to get it.
So in alarm means it's already triggered. The
Yes,
threshold
yes.
already raised and it is already triggered.
Yes.
So OK means, so the threshold is not matched, but it is able to get all the metrics. It is
Okay.
able
So
to
it's kind
communicate
of
and it is
active
able to
alarm.
get the metrics. For example,
Yeah.
you have an EC2 instance, so you created an alarm that, so whenever CPU utilization is reached to 80%, I want to terminate or I want to stop that. So alarm is keep on checking with our EC2 instance, but always CPU utilization is 60%. So is that in alarm state?
No.
No, it's not even reached the threshold. So it shows OK.
Uh,
Whenever
I,
that alarm threshold got hit and it executed that, then it goes to in alarm state. Insufficient data means that alarm don't have sufficient data to trigger some operation. For example, you mentioned, okay, your EC2 instance should be monitored for 1 hour. If this something is matching, then it need to trigger, but you launch your EC2 instance just 5 minutes back. So is your
Okay.
alarm contain last 1 hour data?
No.
No, right? So it shows insufficient data.
Got it now. Yeah. Thank you, Avinash.
Right. Okay. All right. So any questions? Any more questions for me, guys? Okay, I think I got one question in chat box. If SSO is implemented on AWS with Azure AD, then SSO is completely different. We just need to give identity provider in SSO, but SSO is at AWS level, but FSX is a OS level. So both are completely different. So that is not sufficient. We need to again enable communication with our VPCs as well. Right, Prasanna? Okay. All right. So yeah, that's it for today's session. See you again tomorrow. Thank you, guys.